Hi guys, and welcome to a new episode of Tech Tuesdays with your host Royd, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing the Nikon 35mm f1.8 S. But before we get to that, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and also follow us on Instagram so you stay updated on future videos. Now, before we get to the video itself, I wanted to share with you that this review is not going to be about specs or MTF charts or any of that. There are plenty of great videos out there already. So what I wanted to share are my experiences in the real world about shooting with this lens. Now, I've been using this 35mm ever since I bought my Z6 back in September 2019. Now, before that, I was using a D800 with a 24-70 f2.8, which is a great combo but just so heavy. This is why when I held the Z6 and this 35mm together, I was absolutely blown away by just how light this combo is. The lens and the camera together weigh only about 1 kilogram, and this lens is only 370 grams. Compare that to the D800 and the 24-70, which weigh about 2 kilograms together. So I've effectively cut the weight of my kit in half. But the weight wasn't the only factor. I just love the look of the 35mm, and I feel it's the perfect focal length for storytelling. It's not too wide that you get distortion, and it's not too close that you miss out on things at the edges of the frame. When I'm shooting a wedding, the 35mm is my go-to lens when I want to be in the middle of the action, and when I want to show my clients not only what it looked like, but also what it felt like to be in that moment. And not just from a photography point of view. For cinematography as well, if there was only one lens I could have, it would be the 35mm. Now, this 35mm from Nikon is an f1.8 lens, so that's the maximum and the biggest aperture you can get with it for those creamy, blurry backgrounds for portraits, whereas f16 is the smallest aperture you can get if you wanted more depth of field or for landscape photos. Now, the lens itself is really well made. Nikon have used premium quality materials and glass to make it, and you can tell just by the way it feels. The lens uses Nikon's new Z mount. Now, those of you who aren't aware, Nikon developed a completely new mount for their mirrorless cameras, the Z mount, which is a lot bigger and also closer to the sensor than their F mount, which they use in their DSLRs. This provides quite a few benefits, like less distortion around the edges and also the ability to make faster and bigger aperture lenses. I won't talk too much about the Z mount in this video, but if that's something you guys are interested in, then let me know in the comments below. The lens has a metal mount as well as a rubber ring around it for weather sealing. And I've used this lens in pouring rain just recently, so let me tell you guys, the weather sealing absolutely works. The lens ring itself is extremely smooth and silent, which is great for video recording, and the autofocus is quick, smooth, and completely silent. Now, Nikon are not really known for video features on their cameras, but with the Z cameras and these S series lenses, they have done a really good job. Now, the lens also comes with a lens hood. So you can put this on your lens if you want to avoid things like lens flare and other nasty effects when you're shooting in bright and sunny days. Now, I primarily use this lens for photography, so that is something that I can talk about. And let me tell you guys, I'm not exaggerating when I say that this is one of the sharpest Nikon lenses that I've ever used. Now, I frequently shoot this lens at f1.8 because during weddings the lighting is generally low, but even wide open at 1.8, this lens is absolutely phenomenal. So combined with the fast and accurate autofocus and the sharpness at f1.8, shooting in low light has become an absolute piece of cake. The other things that I really like about this lens are the colors and contrast. Many people feel it's the camera that affects the colors and contrast, which is true to a certain extent, but the lens plays a very important role because that's where your light passes through in the first place. If your lens has poor quality glass, no matter how great your camera, your colors won't be good. Now, this lens uses 11 elements in 9 groups. 2 of those are extra low dispersion elements, 3 aspherical elements, and also elements with Nikon's nanocrystal coating. Now, all this may sound complicated, but in simple terms, these premium quality elements make this lens simply amazing. Now, one big complaint that I do have with Nikon is why did they decide to go with f1.8 lenses for their mirrorless cameras? I mean, they spoke about how the Z mount allows faster and bigger aperture lenses, but then they went ahead and made just f1.8 lenses. It just doesn't make sense. And it's not like these f1.8 lenses are any cheaper. I mean, this 35mm f1.8 S is about 67,000 Indian rupees. I would have loved to have at least an f1.4 lens for that price. But other than that, there really are no complaints that I have about this lens, and this lens stays on my camera at all times and is still my go-to lens when I'm shooting weddings and events. What's your favorite lens to shoot with? And have you used this Nikon 35mm f1.8 S? Or do you intend to buy one in the near future? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and share this video so that it reaches a lot more people. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.